This is going to be a different kind of video. I want to explain why I haven't made many videos. This is going to be very, very personal. Very personal. It's going to be full of TMI. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so I wanted to do this, and it's not going to be easy, but I'm going to do it anyhow. So stand by. Hi, I'm BrendaEM. This is going to be a little different. It's going to be personal. I'm actually sitting in the living room as such. It's there's no this place is trashed. It's like this is like not a home, but it's an input output buffer. The couch looks really good, but if I turn the camera around, actually we'll turn the camera around. Let's see. Yeah, all this stuff is going in and out of the house because I've been for the last few years, maybe 4 years, I've been like not really having much of a home. I don't have a nail in the wall. So the thing is that my old roommate moved away or is moving away, and he had a lot of stuff, and he said I could stay here until he's done moving out, and then COVID hit, and then I collapsed my lung twice, and again, it's number 3 and 4, and I want to talk about that. And you know, at this point, I told you this was personal. It says right on the wrapper that the title. You could see it's personal. So also it's cold in here. It's probably I think it's 59. I think, and it's still a little cold for me. I've got a thyroid problem, and it doesn't make it seem any warmer. So anyway, what happened was, and this is going to be like big TMI, and but I want to say this. I could die today, tomorrow, after tomorrow. I might as well do this. Just do this. I've been putting this off for months, and I think that, like Nerd Rage says, crushing your expectations. Oh boy, am I going to crush your expectations. Okay. Here we go. So, at least I make this entertaining somehow. So, anyway, first the bad news. So I've been on Social Security. That's why I haven't taken that much money from my channel. I haven't made that much money. I haven't taken any money. I don't think I've made even 1/4 as much as I didn't even recover 1/4 of my expenses since I made this channel. I bought like SD cards and hard drives. I built at least one computer for just solely to edit video. Not the one I have. This one's to do CAD and design, but the previous one was to do video. And I bought lights and stuff, and I tried to set up the other shop, and then it didn't work out. So now everything's sitting in stasis in the garage, and I've been kind of living out of storage bins. I can stay here. The agreement is I can stay here, but I can't have much stuff here. I mean, I probably have too much stuff right now, but I've got to change that soon. Anyway, so I'm on Social Security. I've been living on about $12,000 a year in Silicon Valley, and I use the word living on loosely. And I know that there's people worse off than me, and at least I have a place to shelter. And there are now over 10,000 homeless people in Santa Clara County. And let me tell you that they've used every single trick they could to keep that numerical factor down. So there's probably a lot more than 10,000 homeless people here. If you count like It's been said that if you're living in a car, you're not homeless. I just want to say that what's happening here cannot be allowed to happen in other places, and I know it has in LA. And we're at the beginning of widespread homelessness. I mean, on a city scale, 10,000 people is a city. We could have a homeless city in Santa Clara County. Maybe we should set one up, get some plywood. So anyway, I'm on Social Security, and I've got a lot of trauma issues. Bad. They don't give you Social Security just for any old reason. I try to hide them the best I can, and I'm sort of crushed your expectations. It's probably worse than you think. We'll get to that someday. Yeah, I've got a lot of trauma issues, and they say that whatever doesn't kill you, what was it, Ian Flux? They said whatever doesn't kill you can only make you stranger, and yeah, there I am. Some years ago, I worked. You got a trial work period. You can only take one every 5 or 9 years. You could do a trial work period every 9 years and stuff, and that's crazy. And because I was brought up blue collar, and regardless, I might have some white collar skills now. Health is not good. We'll get to that. But I was raised blue collar. You know, where I came from, you work with your back. And yeah, and which I'm having problems with now too. There was a problem with Social Security. I reported when I was working to Social Security. I called up Social Security. I said, "Listen, I'm working. I'm going to start my trial work period." And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're good." And then I get a call. How many years later? Oh, before it happens, I get a call saying that there's someone going to be calling me. You have to be nice to them. You have to be nice to them, or you're in big trouble. I'm like, why? Why? What happened? And there's a problem. Apparently, Social Security SSD didn't tell SSI. You know, I'm part of the reason why I'm on Social Security is for psychological issues. Maybe you should get on Social Security too. So I'm had a little stress here. I'm probably slightly autistic too. Anyway, so I got the call in, and well, at first they sent me paperwork. They sent me like dozens of sheets of paper, and I've got a problem with my hand. You probably know me. I don't know if you've noticed. Nobody said anything, but I've got a contracture here, and I also have and I don't know. It might be I've had a free tendon graft here, and I had a contracture. Maybe the contracture is caused by Lederhosen disease. I have plantar fibroma on my foot nose. Maybe I have Dupuytren's disease on my hand or whatever it is. Anyway, I said I've got a typewriter now, but I didn't have it fixed before they called, and it was sticking, and they called, some guy asked for accommodation. I said I can't fill this paperwork out. How are you supposed to do this? I said, we'll have someone. I asked for accommodation. I said, accommodation. And so this guy called me up. And we tried to work through the paperwork. We found out what happened. And what happened was, it was on around October 15th of 2020. And So this guy called me up, and there was an hour of stuff to do, and I didn't, you know, when you're telling you these things, you don't have a lawyer present, and even if you're going to lose your Social Security if you're going to lose your Social Security if you don't get it done. You'll have no money. You won't be able to eat anymore. Think about that. You won't be able to eat anymore, or even live indoors as much as this. Won't be able to get to the doctors. Won't be able to do the copay for your medication if you don't get it done. So I don't understand completely everything that they're trying to say and the ramifications, but I'm still trying to soldier through it. Then, when it was done, we looked at the time. He looked at the time. He started yelling at me. He said, "Do you realize that we've been doing this for an hour?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't notice that. I'm not good with time sometimes." So he says, "What time do you think it is?" At one point, and I looked at my phone, and I told him it was like an hour and 2 minutes, and he said, "Wrong, it was," or something like that. He starts getting really loud with me, and he told me that he told me that it had been longer than that. Well, what had happened was that he initiated the call through his service. It took a couple minutes to come over here. I picked it up. My time was shorter than his time, and that's why he's getting angry at me. Then he's playing this game where, really, I'll come out and say it. He's playing this game where he wanted me to apologize and all this other stuff, and I was just trying to get it done too. And if you're sensitive, you should probably stop watching this. Maybe some people might find it triggering, although I'm trying to leave out anything that might, but I'll try. Anyway, I feel that he had a need in him to dominate me over the phone. There was nothing overtly sexual or anything like that, but I felt like he needed to dominate me on the phone, and that's what I feel like he needed to do. And the effect of that was, it made me feel like I did when I was a child, and I was hurt. And I was hurt a lot. And as I say, maybe I'll put up some other videos and explain about that. But he made me feel like that hurt child again. And not just anyone can make me feel like that. And that night, or a night later, a day or two later, I started having flashbacks of bad things that happened to me when I was young, and I cried. When it was all over, I cried, and by crying I mean I took my pillow and I started yelling into it, and that's how I collapsed my lung the third time. And I think it's Nerd Rage says, crushing your expectations. Are you ready? Okay. So I'm a transsexual person, and it happens. And I'm not only a transsexual person. I'm probably autistic, and I've got trauma issues, bad trauma issues. So I'm probably not going to speak for many transsexual people or trauma people or anything. I'm just trying to survive. Anyway, I go to the hospital, and well, first I want to give. I can't give his full name because I don't want to get him in trouble, because he was nice to me. His name was Chris, and he talked me down from the ceiling because he told me to go to have a chest x-ray, and so I had a chest x-ray. I came back to the house, everything's going to be fine. Maybe I have pneumonia, or maybe I have COVID, I don't know. And he told me I collapsed my lung again. I was like, oh my God. And he talked me down from the ceiling. And he said, don't go anywhere, call an ambulance or drive, don't. He said, and he didn't say drive, he said, call an ambulance, hang up with the phone with me, call an ambulance. and get to the hospital immediately. Have somebody bring you, and he wanted me to be safe. And so, like, I ended up going to Stanford. So I went to Stanford, and I had my third lung collapse and a hydrothorax. There was fluid between my lung and my chest cavity. And I had surgery. It was supposed to fix this for good, and what I must have really cried. So yeah, and so I was in the so they got me stabilized, got my lung up. I started breathing again. Actually, I think I have more oxygen than most of you people usually get, and I've got really long lungs. I've been told. I went to the hospital, and this woman looked at me and said, "Oh, girl, you got long lungs," you know, and that's exactly what she said, and she. Anyway, so then after getting me stabilized, I have to do pleurodesis. So pleurodesis is not fun. So if you smoke, you should stop smoking, because I'm going to tell you something right now. Having lung work done. Firstly, if you're going to have lung work done, cover your ears. But if you smoke cigarettes, listen. I'm going to tell you something right now. Having a pleurodesis hurts more. Oh, I'm going to tell you two things. As far as I know, smoking, from what I've been able to gather, is that people who smoke cigarettes, or especially thin from front to the back, and white, tall-waisted, and smoke cigarettes, including ex-smokers, I think they're more likely to have a lung collapse. And the second thing I'm going to tell you is that the pleurodesis, it hurts more than a sex change operation. Yeah, enjoy that cigarette. Anyway, moving on. So I'm in the hospital. They have to do the I'm not good with, I don't like the pleurodesis. I don't think fentanyl is enough for that. And I'm not to make a light of it, because I lost one of my acquaintance / friends from it. And at the same time, I'm in pain, and I take pain meds. So, anyway, to get back on track. So they have to do a pleurodesis, and I said, please numb me out best you can. And last time they did this, it took 4 people to hold me down. And so they tried to do some kind of pain management, and then they gave me like a syringe or 2 of it's talc and water, and it's an antagonist. And I think the pH is wrong. And there's like pleural fluid, and I think it works probably because it's lye. They put lye between your chest, and it causes like a chemical burn and bonds it to the interior. Yeah, and that's what it feels like. It's not just pressure. It's burning. It burns. I wonder sometimes if it'll work as well if it was pH balanced. If somebody gets some pleural fluid, my pleural fluid, and do it, and it could have been buffered or something, but maybe it works by being caustic. Anyway, they said before they started, they're going to have to. They were going to have to. Put it in and roll me around and stuff, because it was the lower part of my lung, and they didn't. And not that I could tell. I was there, and you could read anything you want off the paper, but I was there, and they didn't turn me like they said they needed to. And then I noticed that the staff generally, I would say overall, I had never been I'm not gonna say buffer this at all. Stanford, and I've had a lot of Stanford doctors who are really good, and I don't think, and I hope it's not typical of Stanford, but as an inpatient in Stanford's emergency room, or in the stay after, I had never been treated worse. And they didn't give me, I don't feel like they gave me enough of food to eat. I was emaciated before I left. And I don't feel like I had enough of fluids, enough of water. I had people tell me, oh my God, you lost so much weight. And so 5 days later, they're testing me. They're kicking my tires, so it's metaphorically, and they want to send me home after 5 days. I told them I'm not ready. I begged them. I said I can't do this. I can't take care of myself. I'm not well enough. And they said, well, we'll stop your pain meds and just make sure you're okay. Then you're leaving. And so I had no one to drive me home. And what I didn't know, I was on this other medication, gabapentin, and I had never had it before. And I also felt like I was having difficulty, but not as much as I thought I was. I didn't come out right, but we'll get onto it. So they got me to my car. After 5 days, I'm still begging them. I'm like, I need a couple more days. And so I collapsed my lung at that point, I collapsed my lung 3 times. We'll go for all 4. That I collapsed my lung for the first time, 7 days. Second time, 7 days. Third time, 5 days. Fourth time, 7 days. So, but they got me in my car, and I was driving home, and I went to blink. I did a long blink or something, and I saw like electric blue oriental carpets. It was chemically induced, clearly from the gabapentin, and I was on 101, and there was no place to pull over, and I wasn't. I had all I could do to keep the car on the road and sort out driving. I don't know how I made it to the house. I have never driven. Because one of my exes died from drinking and driving. I've never driven intoxicated. And also one of my friends slammed into a pole. He was intoxicated, slammed into a pole, shoved the engine back to 1 foot, and he got really hurt in that and hospitalized. So between death of someone and a friend and injury of a friend. I promised myself I'd never drink and drive, and but here I was on 101, and there was no place to pull over, and I don't know how I made it to the house, but I did, and I feel like I could have been killed, and I could have been killed because I think that I could have. I think that I could have been killed because I wasn't ready to go back here. So also when I was there, they treated me like a criminal. I really feel like it actually occurred to me. It's not like it actually occurred to me that that this must be how it feels to be in a prison infirmary. It actually occurred to me, and I don't know if I said it already, but they hardly gave me enough of food. I was emaciated when I left. I feel like they didn't give me enough of fluids and water either. And I had never been treated so badly at a hospital. I felt terrible. And when I went to see my doctor, my thoracic person, he didn't even know he had work. I only saw him for a few minutes at the hospital. He didn't know. He was so disinterested in the whole thing. He didn't know who he had working on me. He didn't even know. I think a lung collapses. I've been in the hospital with my lung collapse before, and people ran over to the X-ray thing. They're all excited, But no, it's not this doctor. No, he didn't even know who he had working on me. It didn't bother him not one bit. And I've now had a full recovery, and about a month, and the record for the shortest. About a month or less later, as far as I know, my lung collapsed again. And this time I went to El Camino. Before it did, I went to El Camino, and they didn't want to give a second opinion on Stanford. And they called up Stanford. That's how we can tell. We can find out what day they called. And they called Stanford. There's no reason, if I'm here for a second opinion, there's no reason why they should be calling Stanford. But that's what she wanted to do. But this time they were good at El Camino. And they at El Camino, when they put me in the hospital, when they finally did it, I had an excellent person working on me. And he did a really good job. He did the best job he could do. But it feels like he could only patch me back up to where I was after the third thing. And I had like a lump of scar tissue right here on my side for months, and I probably still have some. And unfortunately, I've not had a full recovery, and I have little problems breathing. I've got an inhaler I used. There's one pulmonologist who thinks that it might help me. He said something about trapped air in the lung, and it might help me not collapse my lung again. I've had one pulmonologist say that I will collapse my lung again. So that's the thing. And as I said, I could take a breath in. It's just I just don't want to breathe anymore after that. And I'm on pain medication, and it helps, but I can't take it all the time. And I'm taking other things too to try to mix it up. And I take it if I take pain medication, I don't usually take it for more than once a day. And I need a break now and then. And actually, oddly, yeah, it's there's addiction, and then there's like having pain medication help you breathe. Because I'll just sit there and hold my breath, and it's not getting better. I'm already on I'm on 1,000 milligrams of naproxen sodium a day, for NSAIDs to help too, and I'm taking proton pump blockers to help protect my stomach from that. And anyway, so I'm having a hard time. Meanwhile, I'm having housing problems. I've been taken off the HUD housing wait list twice already, and there are 10,000 people homeless here. And Santa Clara County will use every book in Santa Clara County will use every trick in the book to undercount their homeless people. If you're in a car, sometimes hey, you're not homeless, you've got a car. I'll just put up my full length mirror and just pin it to the little thing that holds up your dress suit. Anyway, so I'm having problems. It's been interesting, and I'm sorry I haven't made many videos. I've tried to squeeze out one here and there, but I've got a problem with my foot, and it's harder to even be on my feet, and I've got a thyroid problem too. So it's did I mention psychological problems? So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to me. Die, I should think. Yeah. Also, Santa Clara County, they do this thing where, if there's a problem, they hand you a piece of paper that says, well, try these legal agencies. If you think you haven't been treated fairly by us, here's some legal agencies. And you call the legal agencies, oh, we're not going to help you. And then you find out they're donating money to those legal agencies. Also, there's also another agency called Sacred Heart. I don't know why they're getting money. It didn't help me. It didn't help me in any way. They came over, and I guess I'm not Judeo-Christian or something, and they didn't want to help me. I don't know. What am I to think? What am I to think? And they're taking county tax money to do what? Using what standard? Using what standard? What federal standard? What state standard? There's a lot else going on here. When COVID hit, they corralled all the homeless people into a parking lot, and they put them so close that they probably got sick from that. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And I dread And I think that the way Santa Clara County handles their homeless people, and probably LA too, and maybe parts of New York, that can't be allowed to happen elsewhere. Because we're going to have a whole lot of homeless people. A whole lot of homeless people. Maybe you too. And, there's a dichotomy. There's a dichotomy because, if you have a house and a tornado comes and rips up your house, FEMA's all there and stuff. But if you never had a chance to begin with, there's not as much help. And I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. I can do things. I'm not unintelligent. I can't be consistent though. And I take a lot of naps. And well, is there anything else you want to put on a job application? Yeah, I take a lot of naps. Yeah, I take a lot of naps. Yeah, that's great. Did I mention the psychological problems? Anyway, so I've gone totally TMI. I don't know if I'll do another video like this again. I don't know if I'll do any more videos. I don't know. I want to. I want to change the channel. At least one thing about the channel and stuff. I want to draw attention to people. I want to set up something so maybe to get donations towards people who are like, especially trauma. People have had a lot of trauma in their lives. I'd like that, like a RAIN network or something like that. And I don't have anything set up yet. Don't give me money to give to RAIN. I don't have anything set up yet. But maybe I'll put links or something like that at least. Check for links. Yeah, and I'm not good. I'm not good from it. No. I had some trauma and I'm not good from it. Trust me. Yeah. Well, anyway. I try to put up some. I try to do something. I try to do something other than this. I'm going to do some other things too, but I try to do some more geek-related videos.